Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Express, which is becoming everyone's favorite talk show. It is profoundly real and interesting, so without any further delay, please help me welcome back to the stage the beautiful and expressive director of Express, Carolyn. Carolyn, take it away.
Welcome to Express, my show for you, the people. Thank you so much for stopping by. And our guest today is Dolores Francis. Before I introduce her, however, I'd like to remind you to share, like, and subscribe. Why do you do that? So that others can be inundated of the content we share each day. Now, let us start. I said to you, my guest today is Dolores Francis Dolores Box. Most of you might know her by her maiden name, Dolores Box Francis. She was born April 21st, 1957. She graduated from West Indies College High School and went on to West Indies College, which is also known as Northern Caribbean University now, and she studied nursing there and graduated in 1983. She got married August 1984 and she has three sons. She migrated to US in 1988 and worked at Jacobi Medical Center in various departments. Her last department that she worked was in the radiology department, and she retired July 2020. That was during the COVID, right? If I can remember right. So let us welcome Dolores Box Francis. What's going on, girl? How are you?
I'm good, as the young people would say. I'm chilling.
I don't know. I just have this thing about people who I invite to my show. They're just always so busy. And to be honest, I like it because it tells me that busy people, they don't stop, so they have a story. So there you are. So welcome, Dolores. Welcome. And thank you for your time. I know you just got back from Jamaica. Yes?
Yes,
Yes. And you enjoyed yourself there. Now,
immensely.
immensely. Now, tell me a little. We all know that you're from Jamaica and you started out there. Tell me a little bit about your family. I see you have a talk there about your family. What does it
Yes,
say?
it's so. Mother Teresa said, if you want to change the world, go home, love your family.
Wow,
And I think that's a very positive statement because
very much.
if you don't know how to love yourself and your family, how are you going to love someone else?
True,
They say it
true.
begins at home. And
Exactly.
I know that I love my family immensely.
Hmm.
Um, and I came from a family where I know my parents loved me, but they didn't know how to express their love. They
Hmm.
were not the one to hug you and say, I love you, but how they did theirs in the best way they knew how. And I'm grateful for that. And I have built on that in that I not only show my children that I love them, I tell them that I love them, and I embrace them, I empower them, I encourage them. So, it's important to build family values. That's very important to me, to my
Yes,
family.
yes. Okay. So you were in Jamaica, and what about mom and dad who has deceased right now? Tell me a little bit about mom and dad, and
Well, my
your
parents,
connection with them.
yeah, my parents migrated to England when I was about 4 years old. And I think they spent a few years there and then they came back home. So while my parents were in England, I was never in need. But they were not professionals. Neither were they business people. They were poor people. My father was more or less a farmer. My mom a housewife, but she would go out and try to do various things. My mother you would say they're not educated, but my mother was a very smart woman,
Mm-hmm.
very smart, and she knew how to make magic with money.
Mm-hmm.
Because if when I was going to school, she had no big job. My dad had no big job, so they would do the best they could,
Right.
to send me to school. And my mother firmly believed in Christian education. She didn't say anything, but now that I look back on the schools that I attended, I realized that my mom believed in Christian education because I can remember maybe when I was about what 6 or 7. I remember the school. The second school I went to was a Seventh Day Adventist school. I remember the name, 8th Street in Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
I went to that school, and then when I moved back to the country, I went to another church school.
Okay.
You know, so I knew that my mom believed in Christian education, though she didn't say. So yeah, they were hardworking people who tried their best with us. My parents had four of us together, three girls and one boy. One is now deceased. Um, and so it's just myself, my sister is in England, and my brother. But I do have another sister. I'm not
Okay.
gonna, yeah, my sister on my dad's side, not the same mom, but just as important because her children and I are very close. So that's
So
a
when
bit about my parents.
so when they went to England, you were with all your other siblings?
No, actually, when I should say this, my siblings, my two first siblings, my two sisters, they're old enough to be my mom.
Okay.
So my sister that's alive now, she's 22 years older than I am.
Okay.
So so they went to England. I was the only child left in Jamaica. Because I was 4 years old, I guess they figure it's best if they leave me there. So I was left with an aunt.
Mm.
My aunt was a very strict woman that instilled some very good qualities in me that my children have seen it even how I parent. But she
Mhm.
gave me some good values, but very strict. She would beat me a lot if I was rude. She would beat me. But
So when you met your because you've had so much years um gap between your sibling, when you connected with them, were you how did you feel?
well, for example, okay, so my first sister, my oldest sister, when my parents migrated, she was still in Jamaica. So she left Jamaica when I might have been about 6 or 7. So I
Hmm.
had a bond with her, but I never saw her again until I got married in 1983. She came to
Okay.
my wedding. So I didn't, but we would write letters,
Okay.
at least even Christmas time. And my other sister now, she always communicated with me. I met her first when I was 10 years old. But she
Hmm.
always communicated with me birthday, Christmas, when I needed anything, even when I was in college, I would write to her and that sort of stuff. So she is a tower of strength to my family. Like she's a pillar
Mm.
and very supportive to everyone in the family.
Okay.
So that was it with
So
my
you
two
were
sisters.
really were like an only child, but not an only child because you grew up by yourself.
Well,
Yeah.
I
Do you
wouldn't say
think
I
that
grew
was
up.
good for you for now,
I
like
wouldn't
how you
say
are right now?
I didn't grow up by myself in that while my parents was away, the aunt that I was staying with, she was taking care of some other cousins,
Mhm.
three boys. So
Okay.
you would say that I'm what tomboyish because I grew up with only boys, no girls.
Okay.
And until this day, I tend to gravitate towards boys than I would do girls. I get more excited when I hear it's a boy than it's a girl. It's like I
Mhm.
can't help it because I grew up with boys. And as you know, I have three sons. I'm the only
Yes.
woman in the house, so I can't help myself. Yes, so, so I grew up with cousins and nephews.
Yes. 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 Okay. So tell us, did your parents come back to Jamaica? Did they go back to Jamaica?
Yeah, my parents came back to Jamaica when my mom came, I might have been 11. I think I was about 11 when my dad came in at 12 or 13. And so then I moved from my aunt, excuse me, allergy.
That's
I
okay.
moved from my aunt. I went back to live with my mom, and this was in the country.
Mm.
So, and I stayed there at home until I was about what 19 or so, or I
But
left.
did your parents have a goal why they went to England?
But
And did they achieve it?
um, of course, this is what I'm told that the people from Jamaica, the Caribbean, they went to England to better their life so that they could better their family life. So they went and they didn't stay very long. I don't know if they couldn't take the cold. They spent about 7 years and they had built a house and they came back home. And my dad went back to farming.
Well,
And my
it's
mom,
something similar to my parents because my dad and mom they went to England, went back when they were came went back to Jamaica in 9 years after
yeah,
they built
yeah,
their house. So of course they went with a goal in mind. They
right.
came back, their house was through. So you were able to enjoy that house for a bit, yeah.
Yes, sure,
That's
sure.
good. That's good. That's good. All right. So we've talked about what about school? Anything interesting about school that you want to share?
Which
Any
one?
special teacher?
Well, something interesting in my primary years.
Yes.
When I said I went to the school, it was 8th Street School, Seventh Day Adventist School. It so happened that when I moved to the country, the teacher that taught me at that school in Kingston ended up teaching me in St. Mary because she came to the very same school that I have moved to. And that was interesting. I remember her name, Mrs. Walsh. She used to ride a motorbike to school. That's what she
Really?
was. Yeah. So she taught me there. And also there's this guy, Clyde Thomas. He
That name
went to
sounds familiar.
NCU
Familiar.
and he went to college and he did at NCU. Then he also taught me, like when he was very young, he
Mm.
also taught me. We were able to reconnect. I think your husband knows him too,
Okay. All right.
Clyde
Good,
Thomas. I
good.
think
Who
he does.
knows? Everybody
Do you
goes
know
through.
him?
They'll be like, who? The name
Clyde
sounds
Thomas.
familiar. Clyde
Yeah,
Thomas.
man. Clyde
I'm
Thomas.
sure
He's a pastor.
I'm
Ask your
sure I
husband.
know him. Maybe his face. If I see his face, I'll
Yeah,
remember, that his
yeah.
name. But name does sound familiar.
So
Yes.
that's and something I should say. That's when you are young and sometimes uh, you have a dream and you don't know what your purpose is, you don't know what plan God has for you, but if you just follow his lead. So I had dropped out of school.
Mm-hmm.
I think what how old I was, maybe 16, 17. I don't remember. Anyhow, I dropped out of school because of some problems.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I went back to school when I was age 19, I went back to high school.
Okay, stop right there. I need you to speak to someone who went through the same situation as you did, dropped out of school, and tell them what you did. So, in case they're watching and they're thinking, oh, well, I dropped out of school, there's no hope for me, you give
But
them, you tell them.
there's always hope. Always, there's always hope. You cannot give up on your dream because
Okay.
sometimes, your destination might be over there, and some people might ride a bike, some a bicycle, some drive a car, some walk, some take a plane. But eventually, we're gonna reach the same destination. So
Mhm.
therefore, one should not give up because you might have a little setback. If
Right.
and another important thing too is be careful of the type of friends you have. You need friends that will encourage you, and I am blessed in that. you know I was very active in the church, and we used to have a singing group called the Ecolettes, and there's
Mm.
this young lady by the name of Pamela Martin. And she went to Port Mary High School. I didn't get to go there. My parents didn't send me there. That's another story. Anyhow, so she encouraged me, and I went up to West Indies College campus. I had gone there the year before, and I decided that I'm gonna go. And I thought I could get into college. Naive. But when I went, I didn't, even though I knew how to type and all that sort of stuff, I didn't have the academical background. So of course I went there, and I went to high school. I had worked during the summer, saved my little money that I work in. They used to give you holiday work, they call it. So I
Yes,
would go
yes.
to public work, save that little money, and then off I went. And my mother, my parents very supportive, my sister supportive. So I went there, and I didn't have to do full time like some students did, but I had a little money. But I went and I got a job. I got a job at the switchboard.
Mm.
Yeah, so I would receiving calls and making calls, and the switchboard was right next to the Pastor Fletcher's office.
Oh,
No, this is yes. So
yes.
that is what I
I
did.
was
I
the
went.
president,
Yes,
president of the BLIC at the time. Hmm.
yes. So I went there, and I didn't fool around. I worked and I studied, and I had pretty decent grades. So what I want to say to individuals who think that it's impossible, nothing is impossible with God. You just have to be determined, and you have to be focused, and you have to be positive. You can't deal with negativity. That, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. You have to say to yourself that with God all things are possible, and you have to aim high, and you have to persevere, and it will happen. Because I look at myself, when I look at places that I have been, I cannot believe it's me. Sometimes I want to pinch myself. Is this me? You know, coming up from a little village, poor people. And when I look today, I am even able to help other individuals. Who am I to complain? I just want to tell anyone out there, don't ever give up. There's always light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay. Yes.
Persevere.
Thank you so much for that. I heard you mention about singing. I never heard you say about, I've known you for a while now, right? Maybe what,
Yeah.
30 years? But I've never heard you talk about that group before. It
Oh
seems
yes,
like because we used to sing, right? But I never heard you talk about that group before. Never.
oh trust me. I mean, I would say I am from, let me see. A lot of people in my family sing. Some are very great musicians.
Hmm.
On my dad's side, great musicians and singers.
Okay.
So from I was a little girl, or I should tell you this story. From I was a little girl, I told you I came up in the Seventh Day Adventist church. So when I was about, I said my mom lived when I was about 4,
Hmm.
and I would go. I was in Kingston. I would go on the veranda and I would just sing at that age, sing 4 or 5 singing. There was a lady next door. No, I realized the lady was a Seventh Day Adventist. Her name was Naomi.
Hmm.
Every Friday evening, she would send me a pack of, we call it sweet biscuit.
Yes, I remember that. They still have them, right?
Every Friday evening, just for singing. Just for singing. This
Oh,
woman would send me this pack of sweet. I'm telling you, I'm 66 years old and I've never forgotten that. I don't
wow.
remember what her face looks like, but she would do that. So, yes, in the church, we would have AY and different one of us, we would go up and we'd sing. So we had this little group and we would
Mhm.
call the Ecolettes. And believe me, we would go from church to church. We would sing at conventions. Yes, we did.
Wow.
Only ladies, about 6 of us.
Uh-huh.
And what did I sing? I think I sing first soprano or
Soprano.
something like that.
Yes, that's what you
Yeah.
normally sing.
Yeah, sing first soprano or something like that. But yeah, so that was a neat little group that we used to have, man. And we would go around and sing and church to church and that sort of stuff. So yeah. And then of course, now we went on to West Indies College, now NCU, and of course, um
Did you used to sing it with the college choir? The collegiate?
no, and
Oh,
I was never able. I sang in trios.
yeah, you
I
and
was
I
never
and
able to.
Simone.
Yeah, I couldn't sing in the choir. Reason being, when they were rehearsing, I was always working
Oh, I see. I
at
see.
the switchboard, so
Yes.
I had no time to go, and it bothers me because I used to love Feast of Lights and I could never participate just
Mhm.
because I had no time to rehearse.
Yeah. Feast of Lights was really lovely. Really
Yeah,
enjoyed
so
that.
yeah, so with regarding the singing, Valda, myself, and another girl used to be in a trio. So I've been in different from high school, different trios until the great Seraphim group was formed,
So,
of course.
so you, Valda, and this what's the other lady's name?
At one time it was Velma
Okay.
or, but then there was another girl too. I don't remember her name, but she, myself, and Valda we used to sing also in a trio. I don't
Oh, I
remember her
didn't
name.
realize you sang before we came along with the surf.
Yes,
No,
of
I
course.
didn't.
I've been
No.
singing since I was in high school.
Well, you see, now that we're talking, getting deeper into this singing thing because I saw you. We met as Seraphim, and yes, we had Simone, yourself, and I, and Valda who sang, but didn't know about the fact that you used to sing before.
Oh
With the
yes,
group. Yeah,
oh yes,
yeah. So let's talk about Seraphim a little, man.
yeah. So like I said, in college, and this was now 1979, and I remember you, myself, and Simon. I think I approached you guys. I don't know how
I
I knew.
don't know how I got involved.
I think no, I think I approached you guys to sing
Yes.
for freshman thing. I think I'm the one who approached. How I knew that you and Simone sing, I don't know. But I know I approached you guys and went up there and sing for freshman, whatever. That remember that freshman concert, right?
Yes. Mhm.
And so I don't know what happened, but I was invited. I don't know if it's Simone invited us. We were invited to join this group with Mansfield, Raymond, Valda,
Clifton,
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 Joel, and Chang,
Mikey, and Mikey.
Caris, Mikey, yeah, Mansfield. And that was in 79, I think. Yeah,
19, yeah, 79, 80, yeah, because I
yeah,
left it. Yeah.
yeah. So 79. And the interesting thing about this group is that, of course, we don't know how we got involved, but we, the ladies, we got involved.
But
And what we used to do is that we would minister. We would go to the nursing home or the hospital or wherever we go to different churches and we would minister. And, sometimes I sit back and die. For example, if I meet up with, like, say, with Raymond and Mansfield, because of course we were young, and they
yes,
would be there preaching, and I would say, "Oh, they're practicing on these people," you know. But now when I look at them, and they are
the
really
reality,
great.
yes,
They are really great,
reality.
and so we would go and do this thing. And can I tell you that I used to have this roommate, and she used to say she don't know how I manage because I don't keep still. I go to class, I work, and then I still go and
We
rehearse. And then
sing
from rehearsal, we go Friday evening, we do the
to
missionary work.
Hargreaves.
Sabbath, Sabbath, we do missionary
Those,
work.
oh yes,
And
and
I
then
still had
Sabbath we go
decent,
to
yeah,
Hargreaves Hospital.
and I still had decent grades. I still had decent grades. So she used to
Mm,
say, you need to calm down. But I give God thanks and praise. I didn't let that prevent me from
yes,
doing what
enjoying
I was
your life
doing.
and being a part of something great. Seraphim
Yeah.
Group. Even recently we met, right? That had to be last year, and we've sang at funerals. One of our
Oh
members who
yes, yes, yes. That was
passed
like a
well. Mhm.
miniature reunion because I don't even like to think about it. But you remember 2019 we met and some weren't able to come, and unfortunately we met again last year, and at least one individual that we had not seen in years, that was Sharon. He
Sharon,
came,
yes,
and
yes. Well,
unfortunately we have lost two people from the group.
mhm.
We have
Simone
lost,
Brown and Joel Smith.
yeah, yeah. So.
But there was this group really means a lot to me. I when I went back to England, you always still functioning, right?
Yeah, but I
And
have
still
gone.
singing.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you were still singing even when I left.
Well, uh, yes, I still sang, but remember, I had left campus, West Indies College campus. I came down to Andrews, but I
Oh,
joined another group. I joined
oh,
another group.
really? See,
I
what's the
can
name? What was
with
the
this.
name of that group?
I don't remember if we called the name, but I could tell you this. This guy, Anthony Brady. You know Warren Brady?
Name
You
sounds
know his name
familiar
Warren Brady.
again.
So
Yes, yes.
it's his brother Anthony. He sings and he plays. So he used to play. Do what's his name? Oh goodness! But this guy's a part of the Gospel Proclaimers. Now he's in Florida.
Okay.
The Stewart sisters, myself,
Mm.
Irma. Yeah, Irma Bias. We had another little group there too.
Yes, I remember Irma Bias.
Yeah,
Yes.
this guy name is Dwayne. Is it? It's not Dwayne. I don't remember his name.
You will. That's okay. That's
Oh,
okay.
the last
Yeah.
name is Norris. Last name
Okay.
is Norris. Remember Pat Norris? I think it's Dwayne Norris.
Yes.
So that's
Irma.
another group that I was in also.
Wow.
I'm
Dolores,
always,
you'll always singing, always singing. All right,
I
let's
love
talk a little bit about. We're gonna come back to the singing thing, but let's talk about a little about when you and I, when I was in the pre-professional course to go on to do nursing, you were about to go in to do nursing, and we had one subject that we needed to
Oh yes,
pass. You remember, Dolores?
yes.
Listen, listen, audience. This young lady and myself, we had to take this biology exam, and it's just happened. I don't know. I knew I was going to take it. She knew she was going to take it, but somehow talking, we realized we're going to take the same exam. So we said, all right, let's go study. And I remember I was living at Pastor Campbell's house at the time. You came there, right?
yeah. And we
You
studied,
continue.
we studied. And what
Studied.
was interesting is that when we went to do the exam, we found some very familiar questions that we were, it's like the things we were studying just appeared on the exam
For
like
the
that.
exam.
It's like,
Amazing. I will not forget the difference
I,
between arteries and veins. Do you remember that?
yeah, I can't believe
Oh
it.
man.
I
I
said,
mean, I was just
wow.
smiling through the whole exam. It was
Yeah,
really worth it, Dolores. We sat and we
yeah,
studied for a long time. And when
yes.
we went into that exam,
We
everything
passed.
that we studied, we passed.
You
And that
know, God
allowed
is
you
good.
now to go on to Andrews to
Yeah,
become, to continue your training as a nurse.
yeah.
And at that time, I was hoping to now go in to do nursing, but then I left to England
And,
to do my
and you
nursing.
went to England to do your nursing. So you
Wow.
know what the interesting thing as you talk about the exam. The same thing happened to me when I was doing my boards here. And you
Yes,
know that this boards is hard.
because it's
The
multiple
board,
choice. We
NCLEX,
used to write in
NCLEX,
essays.
right. NCLEX was hard, and but I was so prepared. God is good. When I did my CGFNS, I got a good practice.
That was
When
good. It's
I
mostly
was
English.
doing my review for the exam, Dr. Howard, I'll never forget that woman. Carolyn, I went into the exam and it's like the woman, the things I was on the paper, it's like, wait,
Yes,
it's so similar.
yes,
I
yes,
think there was hardly a question there that I could not answer. Believe
yes,
you
yes,
me.
yes.
I
Her
think I
review
had
was very good. Mhm,
amazing.
mhm.
And I tell people this all the time. When an opportunity comes for you to learn something, even if you are fearful, do not hesitate. So let me give you
Mhm.
this example, this experience. I
Or tip.
worked in the nursing home, and in the nursing home, the nursing assistants actually, or nurses aides they call them, they are the ones who would take the patient out of bed, put them in bed, and there are patients that have to use the oil lift. You know the
Mhm.
oil lift.
Yes, 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 yes.
Girl, I used to be afraid of the oil lift because I said I don't want to use it and people anything on the patient falls down.
It
But
was.
anyhow, before the time for me to do my exam, the Holy Spirit said to me, "Why don't you go and see how this thing, how it's operated?" And I
Yeah.
went and I looked. Honey child, what was the question on my boat about the oil lift?
Really.
Can I tell you that?
And by
Believe me,
seeing it, it could make help you
if
visualize it,
if
even if you
I
didn't
did
know the
not go,
guess.
if I had not gone to see how this thing is operated, I would not have been able to. So I tell people, when the spirit tell you to do something and it's positive, go and do it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because
Nothing is too
that,
low to do. Nothing is too, it's always learning. Learning is just um,
yes,
good for
yes,
us
yes.
to learn as we go along. It doesn't matter what it is because sooner or later we can really, you know, tie it up with something else. All right, so let's go back to when you came. What about um, Francis? I remember Francis used to come to the practice and so forth when you got married here and in Pennsylvania. Tell us
Okay,
any
so I
important
got married in
experience.
Jamaica, of course, and then
Oh,
we
yes, got
got
here.
married
Yeah.
in Jamaica, 83, migrated in 88. I had just had Dwayne, my firstborn. I left him, which was like trauma to me. I left him at age 3 months. I left him with his dad. I had to come up because, they came and they recruited. He had extra time to come up. So I came and I left my baby was 3 months old. I left him with his dad and agony. It was agony. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. It was very difficult.
Yes.
Anyhow, by God's grace, I came here the November 1988, and my husband and my son came up the following year, April
Mhm.
89.
89.
And of course, I was working. I left the Jewish home and I went to work at Jacobi Medical Center. And I chose Jacobi Medical Center because I liked the recruiter. She was very pleasant. So I chose that over many others. I could have gone to different ones, even New York Hospital, a special surgery, I could have gone there. New York Hospital, I could have gone to the burn unit. I didn't choose that. I chose Jacobi Medical Center, which I think was the best choice. Anyhow, so come 19, what? That's 88. I went there
1989.
1980. I went there 1991, Jacobi, after the Jewish home. And we purchased a house 93 and we moved to Pennsylvania. We love Pennsylvania because it reminded us of home.
Mhm.
Animals, trees, birds, water, mountains.
Mm.
Jamaica is mountainous, well, up here
Yes.
is mountainous. So we chose this place and say it's good for the children. So when I moved here, my husband and I, and Dwayne, okay, and also Wesley, I have 3 sons. I was pregnant with Stefan, the last one, and I have a deck. We were hanging out clothes. I was supposed to be on bed rest, and I got up because the rain was falling, and I tried to get the clothes, and I tripped,
Mm.
and it put me into premature labor, and I
Oh,
ended up having an emergency C-section.
see.
So I was home, and I said to my husband, "Oh, I need to go back to work. They gave you 6 weeks. I need to go back to work because the house is not furnished and we need this, we need that." So my husband kept saying, if you see me tossing my eyes, the allergies bothering my eyes.
Allergies. Yes,
I keep
yes,
doing
yes.
that. Yeah.
People.
So my husband said, no, you need to stay home because the baby is young. I said, but we need to furnish the place, blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, I did not listen to my husband. I was disobedient. So I went back to work. I went back to work September and I was doing home care, going back and forth. We're driving now every morning. We get up at 5, have our little devotion. Nothing deep. We would
Mm.
stay in the car and we would pray. We'd never leave the house without praying ever. Go to New York in the morning, come back in the evening. And so until one time now, um, by this time, we had somebody staying in the house with the children.
Okay.
Yes, we had somebody staying. So anyhow, it so happened that Derek aunt, his adopted aunt, came up the week before Thanksgiving. So the other individual that we had, she left. And the week before Thanksgiving, she came. And so now Thanksgiving week, getting ready, for Thanksgiving. I remember I even asked this Filipino lady to make me some of that
Dish.
fruit salad that they make. I forget the name.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, I know.
You know what I'm talking? The Filipinos
Condensed
make this.
milk and fruits.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mm.
yeah. So anyhow, I my son, my second son is an asthmatic. My husband did not come up with me the evening. He stayed down. So I came up because, he wasn't feeling well and we knew no one here. So I came up and I was up with him most of the night. Got some
Okay.
sleep, went to work, saw some patients. I was doing home care. On my way back, I had a terrible, terrible, terrible accident. Terrible accident. The car was completely totaled. That's
Mm.
that's exit 52 of Route 80 going west. I was heading west and I ended up going over the median and I ended up going east
On the other side.
on the other side.
Is it
Collided.
raining? Is it a sunny day? Raining
I
or?
think it's a sunny day. I don't know what
Okay.
happened,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a bizarre accident.
Mm.
Normally you have an accident, you're gonna hit the
You
brake.
just
It's
don't
like
know.
I was in a trance. I didn't even touch the brakes.
Wow.
And normally it's something like that. You're gonna hit the
Mhm.
brake, aren't you?
Yes, yes,
I
yes,
don't
yes.
know what happened. Fell asleep or whatever. But anyhow, so I had the accident and I know that of course people came at one time, the car was on fire. And I'm in the car as I can't move. I felt that my right foot was numb. I couldn't move. And somebody came and they put out the fire. The windshield was shattered. Things got in my mouth, but there was no cut on my face, even though the thing got in my mouth, the
Glass.
glass, the broken glass from the shattered windscreen. So anyhow, I know that I was there, and you know, the car of course stopped, and I was there. I felt weak, and the paramedics came, and but before that, a lady came to me, and she took her hands and she rested on my forehead like this, and she said, "Miss, what's your name?" And I told her, and she said, "I don't want you to worry about anything. Everything is gonna be all right." And
Mm.
then she just disappeared. I don't know where she went.
Wow.
And I was medevac from there to Newark. The hospital is called University of Medicine and Dentistry. That's in Newark. It's actually a trauma center too. So I was
Okay.
medevac there, and I remember I was taken into the emergency room and I was on a stretcher there. It was agony,
Mm.
agony. I was in so much pain. As you know, at an accident, they're going to put you on this hard board.
Mm.
They had it,
Support your.
yeah,
Mm.
the spinal column. So, anyhow, I said, my husband got the message. I was not unconscious. It's amazing. The only time I don't remember is I know I went into the helicopter, but I don't remember the journey when I was from the site to the hospital. But as soon as I reached the hospital, I knew. So anyhow, I was in the emergency room, gave information. My husband came, and the pain. I said to my husband, Derek, please lift up my head. I cannot take this pain. Lift up my head. Lift up my head. That is what after 9. Think about this. I'm on this board for at least 6 hours or more.
Wow.
So I am getting very antsy. They're doing CAT scan, they're doing X-rays, they're doing this, that until I tell them, I said, don't do one more. I'm not consenting to do any more CAT scan or X-ray. I can't take it because I'm feeling all this pain. Anyhow, I said to my husband, I said, Derek, I want you to call my cousin Tony because you are too soft. Because I'm on this board here and nobody is coming to see me. Where is the doctor? And when you have an accident, they're not going to give you any painkiller because they don't want to mask anything is
Massive. Right, right, right.
neurological.
Symptoms. Mm.
So they wouldn't give me anything and I'm in pain. But anyhow, finally the doctors came down. only to realize they were neurosurgeons. That's what they were written at the neurosurgeons to come. And then the doctor, he came and he took the board away. And then I was informed that my neck was broken. I
I
had
see.
a C2 fracture. And if anybody knows what a C2 fracture is, it's a miracle. Because with a C2 fracture, if your spinal cord is damaged, you will be a quadriplegic.
Oh,
Your
nice.
respiration could be affected, no control over your bladder. So, every time I think about it, I have to, I tell you, I really have to give God thanks and praise. Even sometimes I feel pain. I don't like to feel pain, but I say it could be that I can't feel pain. So I still have to say, thank God I can feel pain.
Mm, yes.
So the doctor came and he took that thing out and I don't know, he put on the halo. I have the scars to show. Screw it
Mm,
down. Oh my God, screw here and here. Local anesthesia. That's like torture.
I
Local
see.
anesthesia was not, oh Lord. Anyhow, I went up to the floor, I went to the ICU, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember I had a nurse, she was African. Don't know, remember her name, but I tell her that woman took excellent care, superb care. I don't remember, I just pray God and pray for them, ask God to bless them.
Yes,
Superb care. And then from the ICU, I now went on a floor
how
and I
long
had
total were you in there in the ICU about?
I'm trying to remember the days. The accident happened. Was it a Wednesday? Let's say about a week.
Week.
I
Mm,
really don't remember. It's hard. I mean, I was trying to tell the story at church. It's hard to remember everything.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I know that I was in the ICU and then I went to the floor. But before that, um, they had to do surgery on me. They had to do different surgery because my hand was broken, my
Mm.
ribs were broken, both knees were broken. You remember you came and you saw me?
Yeah, but to tell you the truth, I don't remember everything. I do know
You
your
must,
neck. I know your
yes.
neck is broken.
My tibia, my ankle, my heel bone.
Mercy, so much.
Yeah, but
We're
look
in
at me
a lot of
today.
pain.
Yeah. And if you look at me today, you would know. Unless I limp, nobody would know.
Yes.
If I don't limp, nobody knows. And it's not all the time that I limp, only certain times. But
Yes.
so what I want to say is that I had different surgeries, but they did not operate on my neck. They were trying to reduce the fracture by traction.
Okay.
That was agony if I opened my mouth like this, excruciating pain. But God gave me an angel for a nurse,
Mm-hmm.
Robin. As I said, Robin was there. You know
Yes.
why? She had an accident before, so she
Just
could
like you.
identify. Yeah, she could
Oh,
identify.
yes,
And
yes,
she
yes,
was a
yes.
superb nurse, an angel, you know. And so I was saying that they didn't get to reduce the fracture by traction, so they had to eventually do the surgery, and they
Mm-hmm.
went through here and put a plate in my neck.
Mm-hmm.
My husband now,
Wow, you had to
he,
be of great support.
oh my God, is an angel. That man, very supportive, and I
That's
don't
good.
know how he did it because he would go to work and stop from work and come and see me. Then he
That,
come home. When he reach home, it's night. The children are sleeping. It's dinner. Just take it and put it back in the refrigerator. I said, because it's just tired. But he never
yes.
complain, never complain. Back and forth, back and forth. But the story I want to tell you is the surgery. After I had the surgery, no, when I was in the room, it was all these people I did not know. I didn't see anybody that looked like me, my complexion or sound like me. And I was a
Mm-hmm.
bit, you know, suspicious or anxious. So I heard a voice that sounded familiar, the accent. And I said, "You over there, can you come over here, please?" And I said, "Where are you from?" The person said the name. No, I asked the name. I said, your name, where you from? She said, Jamaica girl. I felt like jumping and shouting. I just felt good after all. Because, I could identify with somebody. And what it tells me is that when you're sick and you go someplace and you can't speak the language, or you don't see someone that you know that looks familiar, it makes you very anxious. And so,
Mm.
as a caregiver, you should try your best to make somebody feel at home and feel relaxed because you do not know what anxiety the person might be undergoing.
Whatever
So,
nationality, yes,
yes,
yes, yes.
and that's one thing good at Jacob that they are good for. Whatever your nationality, they try to get somebody there that speaks your language. So that
Yeah.
sort of alleviated my fear. And then when it's time for me to go,
Just for 1 minute. So while you were while you when you had the fractured vertebrae, you were just lying on your back looking in the roof.
yes,
So
I was just lying on my
explain to
back.
the audience what
Huh?
position you were in.
Yes,
Explain to the audience.
I was lying on my back, and I could not help myself. I could not turn myself. So what they would do, especially when I was on the traction, they would log roll me. I would
Mm,
lie on my back and they would come and they would log roll me and turn me to the side a little and then put me back on my back and then log roll me and turn me to the other side. But mostly on my back because I actually developed a stage one decubiti. But
really?
thank God. But yes, it was stage
Oh,
one, just red. It was just red.
okay.
So I
Stage
didn't
one.
get I didn't but so that's because I was on my back so
Back
long.
all along. Yes, it could
That,
have been
that
worse.
could have been worse, but I spent 5 weeks there in the hospital.
Mm,
And then I went to the rehab center, which was a lot bit better. Sorry. So I was saying that after the surgery and I was in the recovery room, my husband came in there and I was very scared because I was on the cardiac monitor. And they have on this sensor for the respiration. Now, if I don't take a deep breath, the thing would go off, the
mm,
alarm. And that thing used to scare me. And nobody came and explained to me. So I realized, so my husband wanted to leave and I held on to his hand for dear life. I wouldn't
yes.
let go. And he had to come out. And I held on to him. He had to actually pry my hands up.
Oh, yeah.
Then when I realized that it's because I wasn't taking a deep breath.
Okay.
I took the deep breath and I went to it was very scary. But through it all, can I tell you, people were praying for me all over. People
Mm,
in England, people in Cayman, people in Canada, people in
yes,
Jamaica,
I remember. Hmm.
all over. People call prayer meeting. When they
Hmm.
heard they call a prayer meeting. No wonder I'm here today to give a testimony because the
Mm,
prayers really went up.
hmm.
The prayers really went up, and that's why I'm here today to give God thanks and praise. To
Yes,
say
yes. And
that,
then we visited you when you were
oh,
in the ward.
people
How did
visited
you
me.
feel when you saw us come in?
Oh my goodness. It's I can't. Well,
This is a
euphoria,
seraphim group down now. We're talking audience. The same group
euphoria.
that we used to sing for people in the hospital. Now we went to the hospital to see Dolores. Let's continue.
Yes, and oh, it was such an amazing feeling. And that time when you guys came to remember that some people from the church came, and we went into this little room. I don't know if you remember that. I
Mm.
have picture. You
Because
still
you were
remember
in a
I sent it to
wheelchair at the time.
huh?
Were you in the wheelchair at the time?
Yes, that time now I was this when you came to visit. Oh, first of all, I think you guys came when I was in the hospital too, and then you came when I was
Yes,
at the rehab center,
yes,
right?
yes, yes. I think so. Yeah. Hmm.
So you came at the hospital, then you came at the rehab center, and at the rehab center is where we took pictures, and then you guys sang, and I mean, that was just therapy, physical, spiritual, emotional, you name it, psychological, mental. It was great therapy. And of course, Raymond would make me laugh.
Yes.
Oh, God.
As usual. As usual.
After someone tell me, no, I can't take it, don't let me laugh anymore. Yeah, and that's good therapy. It's healing.
Of
It's
course, of
healing.
course, of
Yeah.
course.
So, that the experience of people who people, when you have people come to see you to show that they care, it helps the healing process. And
Mm.
prayer helps the healing process. So that was just some great therapy.
And
And
I always think that people who go to, as a nurse, and you see sometimes patients who don't have any visitors, I always try to be with them more
yeah,
when I realize they don't have visitors. The people who come to see people in the hospital who are sick, they don't have to go. There's so many other
mm,
things they could be doing.
yes,
So they
yes,
take the time out to go and look for people, and it says something. It really does. And the person lying there, I'm sure, and you can attest to that, that it was reassuring having us around. And it was good to see you too. You know,
yeah.
it was really good to see you.
And something I just realized now, and
Mm,
it's when Joel passed that I realized that he liked photography. I was wondering where I got these pictures from. Now I realize he's the one who took the pictures. I just realized I thought Joel is the one who took these pictures. Where did I get them from? He gave them to me. Look at
yes,
that. I realized
yes.
that.
We'll show them here on the show as you'll see them.
Yeah, so
Yes. So
it's
so
amazing.
far so good. So then after that happened, you recuperated. How long did it take? About a year before you went back to work?
It took me 5 years before I went back
Five
to work.
years.
Yes,
Wow.
because I developed some complications.
Hmm.
I developed a complication. I was here and I was have this terrible headache. This was what the accident was 93, 94, 95. I went and I had a surgery on my foot. Then
Mm-hmm.
I kept hearing this beating in my ears. That was I heard my heart beating loud, boom, boom, boom. And I kept saying to different doctors something was wrong. Nobody's not understanding what I'm saying until I had this rehab nurse and she was gonna discharge me. And I said, how can you discharge me? And I still have this problem. And she referred me to a neurologist,
Mm.
Dr. Paul Roberts. He just retired. And he was
Okay.
in New Jersey. And I went and he examined me and he was the first one to take the stethoscope and put it at
Your
my neck.
carotid.
And he heard, and as a result of that, I went and I did an angiogram, and then I went to New York Hospital and I did what you call an angiogram and embolization. And what that is, I had a fistula right where the neck was broken in the blood between the blood vessels. So the vein and the artery was there's a hole between, you know, and
Okay.
so they had to go in now and put something like glue, that's the embolization, so that I would not hear that pounding. But something interesting, the doctor told me
Mm-hmm.
that I would just be walking one day and then I would just pass out and just die like that. So another thing too that people have to realize is that if you think that something is wrong, persevere, because if I had listened to other doctors,
Yes. That wouldn't listen to you.
exactly. But this doctor listened to me and knew what
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about, and he found out what the problem was, and
It
that's
was.
another story for another time.
Wow. And after you had that surgery, everything was fine.
Yeah, and so after I had that surgery, everything was fine. So this was what year was that? I don't remember the year. But anyhow, I was still here recuperating, and I did therapy. I did therapy. I went to the gym. I had personal trainer until finally 1998 May, I went back to work, and I worked until I retired.
Retired. 2020.
Yeah, so I was out of work 5 years, and that's
Mm.
America to go back and get your job after 5 years. You know that.
Mhm. Yes, of course. Of course. Of course. Of course.
So yeah.
Do you think because when you retired, it was during the COVID time. Do you think that influenced you retiring early? The
Oh
COVID?
no, no, no! I had put in for my papers long before COVID.
Okay, okay,
Oh no, I
okay.
had put in for my papers the year before. So
Okay.
I knew exactly when I was going to retire. So it
Mm,
had nothing to do with COVID. I did
mm,
my share of taking care of patients with COVID. I did that for 6 months.
mhm. How did
Hmm.
what was give us a little experience about that. How did you cope?
Well, 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 I worked in the radiology department. I would work in interventional radiology, CAT scan,
Mhm.
um, or MRI. And so
Mm,
what my job was to do is like put in IVs,
okay.
and in CAT scan I would give the contrast. I was a contrast nurse. And
Mhm.
in interventional radiology, we would assist with things like a PIC line, put in a hemodialysis catheter, permacat. And so what they did during COVID time, they only did emergent work,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
only emergent work. So like the permacat for people on dialysis, or
Mm-hmm.
if there's a trauma you can't help that, you have to do
Mm.
whatever. So what I would do, and when I hear
You
people say
were
that,
like on call?
pardon me,
Were you on call?
yes, we're
Or
on
you?
call. Yeah,
Okay.
with my job, you're on call. So
Okay.
you ask me what I would do. So say I'm in CAT scan, and the patients would come in, and you have like a red flag, that these are patients, like more than likely they are COVID positive. You have to go, and you still have to do the CAT scan. You have to give them the IV um, contrast. So I was like Speedy
Mm.
Gonzalez.
Just protect yourself. Just protect yourself. Mm.
Yeah, I would put on our garb, fly in the room, connect everything, fly out, press the thing, and press the button, and you could look and see the lung. You could see what it looks like for the patient with COVID. And it was when I see my people,
Mm.
poor
I
people,
know. I know.
break
I know.
my heart.
It was a rough time. It was a rough time. It was really a
Too
rough
many
time.
deaths, man. Too many deaths. Too many
Yeah.
deaths. So many deaths. And then
So,
when somebody made it, they would play a song.
oh,
It made everybody happy. You hear they playing that song. You say, oh, somebody was off the
somebody is going
respirator.
home. Oh,
Oh, good.
wow. That's good. Wow, it was such a pleasure having you here, Dolores. Now,
Yes.
before you go, though, I want you from growing up without your mom and dad for a little while, going through high school, um, persevering to finish high school, persevering to be a registered nurse with your bachelor's, and then meeting in an accident. All those challenges, I need you to just tell the audience, give the audience 3 tips, or tell them what helped you to keep going, what helped you to persevere, what what was inside you that telling you don't give up.
Well, first and foremost, a Christian upbringing.
Hmm.
I grew up in the church, and even though I might have strayed sometimes and was not behaving the way Christ would have me behave, but I never forget my roots. I have a Christian upbringing. Um, I went to a very good school, instill great values, and I have very strong family connection and very good friends. So that's actually 4 things. First and foremost is Christ in your
Right.
life.
Okay.
You know,
So spirit has good
um,
friends.
good. I went good school, good
Mhm.
friends, and strong family connections. Very supportive. You know, quickly before I go, my oldest was only 5, and my middle one was 3. And you should hear those children pray for me when I was
Oh,
sick. No wonder I'm here today to
here.
talk. Right.
Oh boy.
My
God is good.
encouragement to everyone is trust God and never give up. Even though it might seem impossible, it's possible with God.
Thank you so much.
You're
Dolores,
welcome.
thank you so much. It was so good to have you here, reminiscing, going back to things that I know and things that I didn't know. You've you're a tough cookie, they would say. Thank God
Praise
you are
God.
here.
Well,
And
thanks
say
for
hello.
having me.
Yes, say hi to friends, hubby, and the kids first. Okay.
Thank you.
Until
God bless and continue doing what
let's.
you're doing. So somebody's life will be touched, and somebody who might be thinking of giving up will see that it's possible.
Yeah, yes,
All right.
that's the goal. That's the
All
goal.
right.
Thank you so much for the encouragement. Thank you.
All right, dear. Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome. You're welcome. Bye bye now. Bye bye.
Bye.
That was a great conversation with Dolores. Some of the things she said I didn't know, even though I know her for a while. We're not always in contact, but we're in contact, if you know what I mean. She had a lot of challenges, but she never gave up. She never gave up. And that is what I'm trying to help others to see, that doesn't matter what trial you go through, doesn't matter what you go through, don't give up. Don't give up. As I always do, I always leave a thought at the end of the show. And my thought today is, oh wow, my thought today is, it's from, sorry guys, it's from Maya Angelou. The thought says, sorry about the shuffling there. You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can raise from, what you can rise from, and how you can still come out of it. Let me repeat. This is from Maya Angelou. It says, you may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, and how you can still come out of it. Wasn't this typical of Dolores? Whatever challenge she had, she raised from it with the help of God. This is Carolyn saying, from Express, saying, bye bye until another time. Don't forget to like, share, or subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.